thank you for this opportunity to present our work. And so this is a very big question, and we had challenging results as well. So the idea is in the context of metastatic breast cancer, that is hormone receptor positive, HER2 negative. I'm sorry, I forgot the conflict of interest. This study has been partially funded by Menarini, which is the provider of the circulating tumor cell count. So in the context of first-line therapy for hormone receptor positive metastatic breast cancer, we know that we can treat this patient with either endocrine therapy or chemotherapy as frontline therapy when they relapse. And since in the 90s, we had trials showing that chemotherapy was not superior to endocrine therapy. And since that time, endocrine therapy is a preferred first line for most patients in the absence of either primary endocrine resistance or serious concern about the patient prognosis. And here's the issue, is that the patient prognosis things is evaluated by clinician, and it's poorly reproducible from one clinician to another, one center to another, and one country to another. And in that context, the CTC count is highly relevant because we know it is a reproducible biomarker that has been FDA cleared for clinical use. It has reached a level of evidence once in terms of prognostic biomarker. And we also know that it is superior to all the usual prognostic markers that are taken into account by clinicians to choose between hormone therapy or chemotherapy. So here the aim of that trial was to compare head-to-head a CTC-driven choice between hormone therapy and the clinician choice between hormone therapy and chemotherapy. So main inclusion criteria were hormone receptor positive, HER2 negative metastatic breast cancer without any prior therapy for metastatic breast cancer. They had a condition compatible with hormone therapy or chemotherapy, and they were randomized one by one into the two arms of the study. In the first arm, which is a standard arm, so the clinician had to choose and to decide, and the CTC count remained blinded. So some patients were to be treated by hormone therapy, and I will refer to that subgroup as a clinical low subgroup, and some patients were treated by frontline chemotherapy and the clinical high group. In the other arm, the clinician choice was just dismissed. And we based the patient treatment only on the circulating tumor cell count. Low CTC count, which means a good prognosis, patients were treated with endocrine therapy. High CTC count and worse prognosis, patients were treated with chemotherapy. In both the study arm, maintenance hormone therapy was allowed after frontline chemotherapy. So we were comparing head-to-head a very single biomarker, standalone biomarker, versus a multi-parametric clinical estimate. And so we therefore aimed at demonstrating a non-inferiority in terms of progression-free survival between the CTC-driven arm and the clinically driven arm. So secondary endpoints included overall survival, which is very important in first-line trials, and pre-specified subgroup analysis. We randomized nearby 800 patients, and the results have been reported with a median follow-up of 30 months. So here's the primary objective of the trial. So the primary objective was met. So we are demonstrating a non-inferiority. If you are using this single biomarker, your single biomarker, your decision is not inferior to a very heterogeneous clinically driven decision, and the median PFS was of 15.6 months in the CTC arm, 14 months in the control arm. So we also had very similar overall survival curves. And so the main point here is just to say that if you are hesitating about which drug to give, for example, in the overall study population, you're not making any mistake if you rely on the CTC count to take a decision. And then we will dive into planned subgroup analysis, which are quite interesting. And so we have basically four kinds of patients. So clinical low CTC low, clinical low CTC high, clinical high CTC low, and clinical high CTC high. And you see that the characteristics highlight that the clinical low CTC low subgroup has rather the more favorable profile, whereas the patient with clinical high, so patient for which chemotherapy was the favorite treatment option for the clinician, and they also had a high CTC count, these patients have a very poor characteristics. Most patients, when treated with chemo, were treated by taxane and capecitabine, so the standards for first-line treatment. So here are the concordant groups. So the first subgroup here is about half of the patients. They were treated by hormone therapy in both arms. So there is no difference between the two curves. It was fully expected. But we do have a very good progression-free survival in this patient of 18 months. So without CDK4/6 inhibitors, single-agent endocrine therapy in CTC low patient can give you a very good PFS. On the other side of the prognosis, you have these patients that are really at high risk of short PFS, and the PFS was not that bad, with about 12 months achieved with chemotherapy frontline, maybe followed by endocrine therapy. So for this concordant subgroup, basically CTC count complements the prognostic estimates and may isolate patients with excellent or poor outcome. What is interesting, and the most interesting, of course, is patients with discrepant. When the clinician here in that subgroup were thinking to endocrine therapy first, but this patient had also at the same time a high CTC count. So if this patient, if randomized in the control arm, were given endocrine therapy, if randomized in the CTC arm, were given chemotherapy frontline. And what we see here is that superiority for the CTC arm in terms of hazard ratio, and it was statistically significant. And we also see a trend toward statistical significance in terms of overall survival. So again, if you have a patient that is you think that endocrine therapy is appropriate for that patient, but a high CTC count, chemotherapy might achieve better results. What is also very interesting and a bit unexpected was the other subgroup, the clinical high CTC low patients, so patients for which chemotherapy was the most appropriate option according to the clinician, but they had a low CTC count. So they were treated by chemo in the control arm, by hormone therapy in the CTC arm. And what we see here is that first, so there is no statistically significant difference between the two arms, yet if you look at the curve, you kind of see a difference, and the lack of statistical significance might be due to the limited number of patients included in that subgroup. But apparently the chemotherapy is doing better. And to conclude, so what we did, this is an exploratory, so unplanned analysis. We took together the two discordant subgroups, and we analyzed them not by their allocated arm, but by their allocated therapy. So we compare in patients who have discrepant prognostic estimate whether it is better to treat them with endocrine therapy or frontline chemotherapy. And so we find that it is worth to treat this patient with chemotherapy, not only because you achieve a longer progression-free survival in this patient, but also you achieve a longer overall survival for this patient. And overall survival is extremely rare and in first-line trial. And I think this is really interesting results, highlighting that basically the use of frontline chemotherapy, which has been dismissed for a long time, and it can be a very suitable option for patients with unfavorable characteristics such as high CTC count. So the conclusion was, so in the overall population, CTC count was tested as a standalone biomarker. Again, it is reproducible, and you don't need a clinician or, is my clinician a good doctor or a bad doctor? You just do a test, and it can tell you what treatment to receive, and in the overall population, this biomarker is clinically reliable. There is room for improvement, of course, by combining CTC count and integrate it into multi-parametric decision tools. In patients with more than 5 CTC, elevated CTC count, chemotherapy is better than single-agent endocrine therapy. And now we have CDK4/6 inhibitors in first line, so it is worth to do further study with these new drugs. And if the discordant subgroup analysis I showed you, this is the first contemporary study that reports significant reduction in the risk of death. And again, this is an extremely rare result. with frontline chemotherapy. So this result was obtained in about 300 patients, so it's not a small subgroup. And these patients were randomized between hormone therapy and chemo. And I think this result challenges our current standards. So to conclude, CTC count should be included in the decision algorithm. So to choose between frontline chemo or single-agent hormone therapy in hormone receptor positive, HER2 negative metastatic breast cancer patients.